This episode of Beach Weekly is brought to you by Long Beach Transit. 8 a.m. exam crams are what we do at the beach. So is riding the bus for free. Long Beach Transit is now offering free rides to campus, work, and home to start the semester. Save on parking and make the bus part of your routine. Visit ridelbt.com/students for schedules and route information. Beach Weekly is a podcast created and produced by Cal State Long Beach student newspaper, The Daily 49er. With in-depth podcasts, videos, and photo galleries, The Daily 49er is your number one source for campus and Long Beach-related news, sports, arts, and opinions. A new school year means a new host. Welcome, Aziza Gomez.
Hello, I am here with our editor-in-chief, Ashley Ramos, and we're going to talk about her new role of editor-in-chief. How are you, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So my first question is, how and when did you know you wanted to be a journalist?
I think, okay, so I came into college. I was originally a psychology major, and then I wanted to my emphasis was going to be on child development because I wanted to help special needs students in their early on stages. And then I don't know, one day I just started panicking and I was like, what if I yell at a kid and I ruin their life and they're sad and it's they're messed up because of me. And so then I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And so I had to think about things that I already knew how to do that I was good at and I enjoyed. And I really enjoyed taking photos, but photography is an art major. And I knew that if I relied on photography to pay my bills, that I was going to be a broke artist and I was going to be very, very sad about it. So I just was photojournalism. I was like, that's it. Cause then I get to learn. I was and I've always been good at writing. And I remember my yearbook teacher talking oh, we're photojournalism, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just switched it. And I've actually a lot of parts of journalism was things that I already actually knew how to do, like photography, graphic design. I mean, most people know how to do social media, but I love social media. It's all kind of tied together. But yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that you were trying to be a psychologist at first. That's so interesting. Well, it's cool. You're still working with people on your team and
Yeah.
you have a lot of different talents, which is why you're the editor-in-chief now. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want to do psychology. I don't know. I think it's fun picking people's brains. If I wasn't gonna help kids, I was therapy. I could be a therapist.
Now you're like a fashion therapist. Help people with their sad outfits and you're gonna show them beautiful outfits.
True. What not to wear.
That was my favorite show.
Yeah.
I want a white streak of hair on
Mhm.
one side of my head. And that's it. My second question is, how much of an adjustment was working from home for you?
I guess not that big of an adjustment. Um, because I feel in a way journalism could be done from home. Obviously we didn't have any event coverage because there's limited events. But being able to interview people, we had Zoom, always did phone calls, we had emails. So that was pretty easy to do. Honestly, I like being at home. I prefer staying inside of my house. So I wasn't really sad about it at all. I was like, this is fine. And there was limited access to the newsroom. So I still kind of got to see people. And I had seen how the newsroom worked before, with everyone. So I got to learn a little bit, but it wasn't that big of an adjustment. I adapt easily.
Awesome. So would you say that there was a lot of resources for that interpersonal communication still?
Resources,
So
for
I mean
working.
Slack and
Oh.
Canvas, did you feel it was easy to transition and still get that amount of communication with the team?
Mm-hmm. I think in the past, transitioning, since I had such a smaller role and I was just an assistant and it was social media, So we like had to be on our phones, and we had to really like talk to each other through that, like already through the internet. So it was pretty much, it was really easy. But I have realized now, since like we are half in person, half not in person, that like communication probably for like the higher like positions during like the COVID time, like last year, was probably like really, really hard. Cause like right now, even though like I still see people, like it's just a lot of like having to be on your phone, like making sure like, hey, can you respond to this email? Like, hey, you still haven't responded, and like you're not able to just be like, hey, I need you to do this, and like you just see them. So I feel like it was probably really hard. It was probably really hard for the last EIC to like make sure things were getting done and like communicating and all that. I feel very bad. I'm grateful it's half in person.
So I know you've done a lot of cool events or have gone to interview people. And I want to ask you about some of these later, like the Grammy party. Yeah, I remember us talking about a couple years ago. I know maybe for us right now, it's a little easier to do journalism because we're focusing more on like our local community and school. But like us, we really love pop culture and like industry events. So
Yeah.
as we've seen, that did kind of stop the industry a little bit because a lot of these interviews were happening like on red carpets or at events. So how do you see COVID-19 changing how you see your career in the industry? Did it have an effect?
Huh. That's a good question. Hmm. I guess because I'm really optimistic, I was like, we're gonna get out of this. Like, I don't graduate anytime soon, and even if I did, like it's gonna get out of it. So I'm gonna be able to do like concert photography and doing like interviewing people at events and doing event work. So I didn't really like fear in that sense. And then I do want to work for like a fashion magazine, and they were still like up and functioning and running. Um, so no, I feel like I didn't panic too hard when this was happening, because I was like, there's still gonna be jobs, like it's gonna be fine. The kids are all right. It's all good.
Chief mentality.
But I was for sure sad, like because I feel like there was like a decline in even me being able to like read interviews and like the content that was coming out, like pop culture content, like fashion, like the trends, and like seeing people out, and oh my gosh, just seeing red carpet fashion or like concert clothing. So like I feel like creatively I was just like looking back at like old runways and like old concerts and like stage setup and everything, but it's gonna be back. It's already back.
Yeah, there's a lot to study out there, you know?
And I love humans. Like, there's so much about humans that we could like go into. There's so many stories out there. Like, I may not be doing what I want immediately,
Right.
but I'll get there.
So back to this question I
Mhm.
just thought of. So you've inspired me as a journalist and as a person in general because you're very adventurous. I feel like sometimes you just do things and you're like, it's gonna be worth it. And I love that. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Grammy party and how that happened?
Okay, so in high school, like after I had graduated, I wasn't 18 yet. I graduated when I was 17. So the crazy person in me was all like, I'm gonna like sneak into events. Like I'm gonna do that and it's gonna be all right. And I can't like go to jail or whatever because I'm a minor. So like it's gonna be fine. And so like I just started this streak, this habit of
Mhm.
like sneaking into places, because it really is like a rush of like I feel like a like I don't know, like a spy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like fun. So because I was doing things like that for a while, me and my friend were like, hey, the Grammys are going on. Like let's sneak into the Grammys. And we're like, yes, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be good. And And so then we had to pick up. So we go to the dispensary and I'm talking to like one of my favorite like bud tenders. And he was like, I went to the Grammys. He was like, I was there a few years ago. My uncle, he bought me tickets. I saw the whole performance. I went to like da 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 da. He was like, it was beautiful. It was amazing. And I was like, really? I'm trying to sneak into it. And he was like, I don't think you could do that. But like, good luck with that. So it was held at like the Staples Center. So we were just like running around the parking lot in the Staples Center and like running around the streets and like just doing like crackhead stuff, like we were just being dumb kids. And then there's a lot of people that were on the sidewalks that were, what is that called when you're like selling tickets?
Oh, scalping?
Yes, there's a bunch of scalpers and they're like trying to sell to go inside the Grammys, and we're like, how much? Da 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 da. And then they'll not like finally the Grammys is apparently like 4 hours long, y'all. Like 6, like I don't even know how long it is, but it's like really long. And finally, like I swear at like 10 o'clock, everyone from the Staples Center starts coming out, and then they're like lining up to go somewhere else. And so me and my friend were like, what is that? Like, where are you guys going? And they're like, oh, we're going to the Grammys after party. And so I was like, okay. And then I started talking to the scalpers again. And then they were like, yeah, we could sell you a ticket to go into the after party for like this much. And so I bought it. I went in there. It was like just one giant party. There was like dancers just laying around like on furniture, like live model type things. And it was like, I think circus theme ? I don't know. And there was like people on stilts like walking around, and so there's like super tall people just sitting there. There's those
Wait,
like
the prom from Zach and Cody. Do you remember that episode?
no.
They had like a prom and
Uh-huh.
they hired like a whole circus team.
Did they have like people hanging from like the ceiling too? I feel like I do remember this. I feel like it was like I do. Yeah. It was probably the same thing. Honestly, like they probably just stole it from Zach and Cody. It was crazy.
Disney Channel really influenced the culture for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's great. I feel like in this industry, you have to be courageous and just put yourself out there, get yourself into rooms.
Exactly. I ended up meeting one of like the Grammy nominated people, and that was like the coolest part. And that was and I interviewed them, and that was like the best part.
It's like forced LinkedIn. You're just like, here I am.
Exactly, but in a cool way because it's a party and there was free food everywhere. It was amazing.
Southland is bringing its credit union experience to the Long Beach State campus. As a student of Long Beach State, you are eligible to join with access to our new University Student Union branch, student loan services, free checking, and free financial education resources. Visit BeachCU for more information.
Working remotely, how do you manage your day as the new editor-in-chief?
I wake up and then I'll like get ready. All this like past week, Monday through Wednesday, I was going in office because I had class and like meetings. So I was like, might as well go in office. Today, I'm at home. But I think like I decide that like what time do I want to get in office and like start, like what do I have to do? And then I'll show up at this desk right here at home. And then I just like think about like what are the things that I need to do today? Who do I need to talk to? Do I have to set up any meetings? And just making sure that like my like the rest of the managing editors are like doing their job and like helping out and everything. Yeah, but I would say checking my emails. Like I usually like wake up and then I'll be like, oh, I forgot I had to do that. And then I'll like, make a note. And so like I make a list of like things that I need to do.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the most rewarding part of being editor-in-chief?
I guess, I've honestly been thinking about this one because there was like a lot of work that I had to do over the summer to like prepare and make things more equitable, in my opinion, and set up different processes, so that way not everything lands on me, and my team understands what their goal and like what their position does and all of that. And so it's been like a lot of, and then like also working with the business team and setting things up on the business side and making sure that like our budget's fine, there's ads and like all of that. And we have our wonderful director of operations, Sai, that has just been a godsend. And so like it's just been a lot, I will have to say. So I've been sitting here thinking like, what is driving me to do this? What am I actually liking? Because I won't lie, there's most of it I don't like. But I guess what makes it worth it and is rewarding is just seeing my team, seeing that they're like being able to produce things that they like and that they wanted to. I know later on they'll have more liberties to take each desk in like their own way, put a spin on it, create something new. I guess it's also that creating things. I like to see things like grow. I love plants, so I like to see it like start as a little baby and just like blossom into something beautiful. So I guess it's that. It was nice being able to like hire everyone and like hear everyone's story and like things like that, just getting to know people. But it is a big position. I keep like, why did I do this? Like, this is a lot of work. I'm just like, am I doing it well? Can I handle this? Like, I feel like I might explode. No lie.
Thanks for a reason, Ashley, and you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Okay, one last question.
For sure.
After graduation, where do you see your career going? Or where do you want it to go?
Where do I want my career to go? For sure up. I don't know. Because, like, I for sure have, like, career goals. But I don't, you never know when you could, like, do said goals or, like, when you're going to get there. And it's, like, a lot of different things. So I just hope that I'll have a job that, because I work at a grocery store, that isn't working at the grocery store, that I won't be, like, so poor. Because I'm so broke right now, and like I do not want to have like a college kid type salary. Like I want to have that postgraduate type salary. And then I think once I get that like stable 9-to-5 job, because the end goal in life for me is to be an artist, so like start creating art and like actually doing that and running my business actually. And just that. I just don't want to be poor and I want to have a job.
I feel you. Well, you're a great artist and you make great clouds.
Thanks.
Ashley helped me make clouds for one of my shows. It looked beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Beach Weekly.
Thank you for having me on this episode of Beach Weekly. You're a wonderful host. I love this conversation.
If you think about it, your commute to school has been free for over a year. If you count walking from your bed to your desk a commute, keep it going with free rides to real, actual campus aboard Long Beach Transit. Make the bus part of your routine. Visit ridelbt.com/students for more info.